Do you like country music? Head down to Morris, Manitoba, July 25th, 26th, and 27th for the Howl at the Moon Festival. This year's festival features a number of high-profile acts, including Lone Star, Emerson Drive, and Dean Brody, as well as a host of local Manitoba artists such as Greg Arcade, Franny Klein, Aaron Starr, Chris Michael, and many, many more. The festival started as an event to bring a huge opportunity to local Manitoba artists by having everyone sharing a huge bill, and it's only grown since its inception. There will be shuttle buses from various locations if you can't drive, there's camping, day passes are available, weekend-long festival passes are available, and a lot more. You can find tickets and more information at howlatthemoonfest.com, and be sure to follow the festival on Facebook or Instagram. Hey everyone! This is my interview with Danny Hacking of nightmare-inducing psychedelic quartet Holy Void. We talk about their upcoming LP on Transistor 66 Records, about spooky songs, that elusive Winnipeg sound, and much, much more. Holy Void isn't the only great band on Transistor 66. The label has been incredibly supportive of the podcast, and their catalog is so deep and so awesome that, I've been going through my local CD collection, my collection of albums by local bands, and the number of Transistor 66 releases that I have in my collection is incredible. I didn't realize it until I sort of looked at the spines of all the CDs lined up in a row, and that red and black and white logo is there a lot. They've been releasing some of the best music in Winnipeg and across the prairies and beyond for years now, and I just want to thank them for doing what they're doing and finding interesting bands in Winnipeg, including many past Witch Please guests, like Paige Drobot, like Black Cloud. It just seems like that label is a mark of excellence where you know if they're putting something out that it's going to be good. To hear more of the awesome releases that they have in their catalog, check out transistor66.com. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Park Theatre, Winnipeg's premier concert and event venue. If you want to find out all the great shows they have coming up, go to myparktheatre.com.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Witch Police Radio. I'm in the Exchange in, what is this? It's not a warehouse. It's like a heritage building, maybe? Is it?
I think it is a heritage building.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say that. But it looks
it might
like
be.
it.
It looks like it could be, right? Yeah. So this is a building I've actually never been in. It's weird because I must have been past it like 1,000 times over the years, and I didn't really even think about what was inside. But you have a nice little setup here.
Massive. Yeah, we have a massive jam space that we share with a couple of bands.
So you are the only representative of your band here today.
I am.
But normally you're a four-piece, right?
We are a four-piece.
Okay, so if you want to introduce yourself and then, and the band, and then we can sort of go from there.
I'll let you know what their excuses are.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm Danny. I play bass and kind of help write some of the songs.
Okay.
And then we have Kyle, who plays drums, and he couldn't make it here because he's working until 11 o'clock. So
that's fair. That seems like a legit reason, right?
That's fair, yeah. I would agree. Then we have Michael Henderson Castle. He plays guitar, and I think he plays some synth on our record.
Okay.
And he is, I think, still tree planting. So that's a legitimate
excuse.
That's a good reason. And then we have Grant Triple, who plays guitar as well, plays a lot of Moog, and also is kind of the producer of our records.
Okay.
Of all of them, and he's actually taking a well-deserved vacation. So
cool.
So I think everyone.
So you get to be the spokesman here.
I get to be the spokesman today, and they all deservedly get to be off the hook.
Cool.
They're doing what they need
to
do. For now.
Yeah. So I think maybe just to kind of, I know you have a new record coming out, and that's probably what we're going to talk about the most. But just for some background, you guys all sort of came from relatively well-known bands prior to this, right? Like, what's sort of the lineage of the group?
Well, Michael and Grant I'm not sure what Grant started off with. I think Michael was in a band called Calculus Affair.
Okay.
And then started a band called the Catamounts with Grant and Graham and Andy from Mahogany Frog, and they play really awesome surf rock music. And then me and Kyle played in multiple bands. We played in a band called the Hoots when we first we're from Selkirk, so we moved to Winnipeg, and playing in that band with a bunch of high school friends. And then we played in a band called Surprise Party with Misha Dector and Jesse Workington. And then kind of during that time, we started playing with Grant and Michael.
Okay.
So,
how long ago was that this sort of became a unit?
I think we're almost at 5 years.
Okay.
Or it could even be past 5 years at this point. I'm not too sure anymore.
So it was like two halves of two different bands sort of combining, right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I guess we've always kind of played, like me and Kyle have always played kind of more psychedelic rock music, and they play like really cool 60s surf rock, which kind of lends itself to psychedelic rock.
Yeah, it's not that much of a gap between the two, I guess, really.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You see a lot of surfy stuff in psych rock, and vice versa. So, and they kind of had they actually kind of wrote out our entire first EP before even starting Holy Void. They were kind of looking for just someone to kind of round out the group because they had these songs together. And me and Kyle have always kind of been into. We always really adored the Catamounts. So when they were kind of looking for a backing band, we were like, yeah, let's get in. Kyle was really interested, and I wasn't sure if I was good enough because they're very technically great musicians. I couldn't believe how great they were whenever I saw the Catamounts, but Kyle just kind of was like, I'll be your drummer and Daniel will play bass, and they were like, all right. and
it worked out, obviously.
It worked out. Yeah. It's so that's kind of the how it kind of started, and now here we are 5 years later.
What kind of I know you said you're from Selkirk, right? But what kind of background kind of in the local music scene did you have as far as psych rock? Because it seems like there's a lot more bands incorporating psych elements now than there may have been maybe even 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Was there an existing scene for that when you first sort of got into it here, or
there might have
like people dabbled, right?
Yeah, and there were bands that definitely really inspired us. Like Mahogany Frog's kind of always been out there with their stuff. Back then, the Sisses were playing quite a bit.
Sure, yeah.
They had Patrick Short had some incredible guitar tones.
Even some surf stuff too.
Exactly. There are quite a few in that record they released. There's quite a few surf elements to those records, or to that record, and so I get those are the two that come to mind right off the top of my head. Okay. But I'm sure there was other stuff as well.
That maybe subconsciously kind of.
We grew up like when me and Kyle lived in Selkirk and started playing in the Hoots.
Yeah.
We grew up we saw Dig that had the documentary of the Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah, that's a cool documentary.
And Dandy Warhol. So we saw that when we were in grade 10. We all just kind of seen it, and then we kind of gravitated towards the Brian Jonestown Massacre and Dandy Warhols, and kind of a lot of those psychedelic rock bands. So when we first moved to Winnipeg, we were really into kind of the newer psych stuff that was coming out, like the Black Angels, and the Black Lips, a lot of black bands.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of bands like that, and so we also went to Austin to what's called Levitation now.
Okay.
And saw a lot of awesome stuff. So that kind of built what we kind of, I guess, enjoyed in playing music. Kind of going out there and seeing all that in Austin. And that was before Surprise Party started, and that's kind of what Surprise Party kind of gravitated towards that when we first started, and it kind of got more into it with Holy Void. Okay, cool. This might be just me, but when I hear the word psych, I kind of think of it as I think of two separate things. I think of like those bands you were just mentioning, like Dandy Warhols and stuff, which have psych elements, but also have a pretty good pop sensibility. Totally.
And then I think of stuff that's just way out.
Yeah, I don't even know if I know a whole lot of way out stuff.
So you're more into the stuff that's more accessible.
Yeah, I really, obviously Pink Floyd quite a bit. And the kind of more crazier Beatles records are awesome, and Beach Boys even like the Rolling Stones
Yeah.
record. But like I get like, and there's more stuff that I definitely should have already heard at this point that I've never listened to. Like I know a lot of people like Can.
Yeah.
Or like I know some King Crimson can kind of be, and I've listened to some King Crimson because Jesse Workington was a huge fan that introduced us to them. But I guess I've never gotten too into kind of the older kind of like 70s stuff. I guess where that would be more, and or like Grateful Dead. I've never listened to the Grateful Dead or anything, but yeah, I guess we kind of gravitated towards kind of the newer stuff that was happening. That was kind of more influenced by what Brian Jonestown was doing in the late 90s, I guess.
What is the appeal of that stuff for you? Like, what I mean, because you're playing a band that's using some of those styles, right? Obviously, something clicks with you, right? And when
I don't know. There was this one time where I was on tour with. We were on tour with. It was our first ever tour with the Hoots, and Kyle threw on. There's a Black Angels record called Passover.
Okay.
And it was like the first song on it was called. It's called Young Man Dead or Young Dead Man. I think. I forget what it's in that order.
Those words are in the title. Yeah.
It's in the yeah. I should know that. But so we were like driving through the Rocky Mountains, listening to like that song, and it just kind of like I don't know. I just kind of fell in love with like I don't know. I just felt it was really badass in a way.
Okay.
It was just kind of driving guitar and like kind of spooky vocals.
Yeah.
Just kind of like I kind of wanted to emulate that ever since. Like it was a kind of a unique feeling I'm not sure I've ever really had.
maybe a good word to use, because listening to your stuff, and especially the single that is out for the new record too.
Right.
I mean, it sounds spooky to me. And at first I was like, maybe I'm just because of the band name, I'm thinking it's gonna be spooky or something. But no, like I think it's a good descriptor. Like, is that on purpose, or is it just kind of how it comes out with you guys?
I don't know if it's on purpose. Like, we do have like our it's just kind of what happens. I think. I don't think we went like this record. It does sound kind of dark. Like, were you referring to the song that came out recently?
Yeah, there's one
with the Super 8 video.
Yeah, it might be the one. I don't know. I was listening on Bandcamp. You have like one song up from the new record on Bandcamp. I can't think of the title offhand, but yeah, it was dark.
It might be Wretched Child.
Yes,
yeah, I guess a lot of the songs are kind of dark, but like not. I don't know if we ever really planned for that. It wasn't like a theme going into writing it. I kind of came to the record, and it was kind of written over like 2 years. Like we were kind of showing each other songs, and like I think I have 2 songs on the record. One of them's kind of, it's bleak.
Okay.
It's dark in its own way, but it's not necessarily like super like dark sounding. And then there's another song that like it's gonna be the music video that we're releasing for Covered in Blood. That's, I guess,
sounds dark.
Yeah, it's dark.
Based on the title, right? Like,
it's dark. And then there's just like some dark songs, I guess, that we were all kind of writing at the time, but it wasn't really an intentional theme that we were trying to come up with. It just kind of happened that way, that we all kind of wrote these types of songs.
Has that always been there, the darkness, like in your other EPs and stuff? Like,
there's in our first EP we have some pretty. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say both. It's kind of a theme, but I don't know if it's necessarily intentional. We do have some brighter songs too that like are definitely not that depressing or dark on our other EPs. And
yeah,
I'm sure this album has maybe 1 or 2 of that, but yeah.
But are they actually depressing, or is it just kind of the tone of them? Because I mean, a lot of time you can have a bleak song that lyrically isn't bleak, right? Or like it just has like certain notes that just give you a downer feeling, right?
So I can't speak to their songs,
sure, yeah.
But I think mine sometimes have kind of depressing.
Yeah,
I kind of, that's what I'm kind of able to write about, is just kind of dealing with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I really couldn't speak to what Grant or Michael write about. Lyric-wise.
Yeah. Well, do you think that, with multiple writers in the band, do you think that there's kind of a distinct sound? I mean, obviously you know which ones you wrote and which ones they wrote, but do you think an outside listener could sort of peg, even if they don't know who's like, oh, this is.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, well, you'd kind of like, you'd have to know who we were. Like, I think if you knew us for like even a day, you could pick up, oh, that's one of Danny's songs, that's one of Grant's songs, that's one of Michael's songs.
Okay.
Like, and we don't necessarily write songs together or like craft. Like, we don't just like. Although it's something that we've talked about doing recently, we might do it like if we do another record after this. We've talked about just kind of like getting together somewhere for a night and just recording like
cool
a bunch of jams or whatever, and seeing like if we can make something out of that. But usually when we write, and what we've always done is kind of just, we'll have songs that we introduce. Michael will have one, I'll have one, and then Grant will have one, and that's just kind of how it's always.
So they're kind of fully formed, and
the
rest of the people just
tend to be pretty formed. Like, we might make some adjustments to them, but it's mostly pretty carved out.
Okay. And is that like, it's obviously works for you guys, right? Like
so far.
Style.
I've always wanted to kind of try something like where we do write a bunch of songs together and see what happens. That's something that I've always wanted to do with even other bands that I've never had the chance to do. So I'm hopeful that that's something that we do in the future.
Have you always done it like that with your other bands too? Like, where you bring songs in and
I don't know that I've ever written, like, I don't know if I've ever written a song. Like, usually when I introduce a song, it's all structured out, and with other bands that I play in, and even before, they're usually pretty much carved out. Cool. Maybe I think when I was in the Hoots, we had a couple that we wrote kind of really like bait once.
Right.
And like we might have wrote a couple of those, like some of our earlier stuff then, but yeah, for the most part, it's just we kind of, each member introduces their own tune, and we kind of make it our own from there.
Cool. Is it full length?
It's still 8 or 9 songs.
That sounds like a full length.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of full lengths are like, I don't know how people.
I'm not sure what the cutoff
want to do like 16 songs on a record, and it's like, man, that's like, and that's good for them if they want to. Like, that's sweet, but it's so long. Like I think like 8 or 9 songs is like a good length, like half an hour, and then and that's.
Well, your other 2 releases are EPs, right? Like, so those are
Yeah.
obviously meant to be kind of shorter.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is more of a album. than
Yeah,
those,
it's I guess kind of double the songs that we've released
Yeah.
before. So yeah, it's like a more of a album, but it's not super long. 'Cause I don't think.
Just, well, I guess the style you're
we'll
playing
get,
too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, next one you got a 10-minute song or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you think there's been a progression since that people can notice since the first EP to now? Like, I mean, has the sound changed
I think
considerably?
so.
Like,
I think.
I mean, you hope there's a progression of some kind, right?
Yeah, I like before. I think we were pretty close to sounding like, kind of like, early Pink Floyd.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly what it's progressed to now, but it's kind of more raw and more dark, and like it's. Again, it's not super intentional, but it's kind of like I feel like we've kind of morphed really well. Like, what am I trying to say? Like we've kind of like gelled a lot better over the years. We
Like, just
play a
gotten
lot
tighter?
better.
Or?
Yeah, it just sounds a lot more fluent.
Okay.
And I don't know how I feel like this album's kind of more tethered together with the one that we're releasing. It's like it flows maybe a lot better than some of the like our EPs
Okay.
have in the past.
Is that intentional, or is that just it worked out?
I don't know. It's definitely not something like we've talked about doing.
Okay.
But and I think that's something that we'll hopefully just continue to do. Like, I think at some point it might be intentional, and that might be a cool thing to do.
when you say flows together though, do you mean just like kind of sonically, like song to song,
Yeah.
they mesh better together?
Yeah, like listening back to what we're about to release, it does kind of it sounds like every song kind of like works going into the next one. I guess maybe Grant, who recorded it, kind of he spent a ton of time. We recorded it on reel to reel.
Oh, cool.
Like it's recorded to tape, and that's like all we did to it. So he spent like a ridiculous amount of time mixing it and stuff. Yeah. So I guess he definitely put in a lot of work in figuring out the best flow and structure to it. But it definitely shows like it's in yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I think that a lot of albums now don't have that flow because people are not thinking about people consuming it as a full album, right? I mean, are you hoping people are going to sit down and listen to this start to finish? Or
I think so. I think you'd want like I when I kind of heard it back for the first time, like hearing it back, we pressed it on vinyl and hearing it back like from that, like I wanted to hear it from start to finish. Yeah, and I never really used to really like listening to. Usually when I get an album back and like other bands, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to listen to it because I don't know. But I was excited to listen back to this one, and I hope other people when they hear it that they'll kind of feel the same way
and like consume it as a single piece.
Yeah, and it's not that long, so it's like listening to it for half an hour. I think. Like
it should be reasonable. But I mean, do you have to? Do you worry about that though? Because I mean, like. I definitely listen to music like that because I still listen to a lot of mostly physical media. Yeah. So I'll put a record on and leave it on until I flip aside, or a tape or whatever. Right? But a lot of people, I mean, the majority I think now are just so kind of short attention span for music.
That's true.
Does that affect anything about how you're sequencing it or anything, or you just do it? I don't
think so, and I think the only reason for it, like why we don't think about it, because I think we all listen to records we all listen to records all the way through. So I don't think that's something that we've ever really considered.
So you're doing it how you want to listen to it, right? Yeah.
It's like whenever I listen to an album, I usually put it on and just like listen to it start to finish. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Grant and Michael and definitely Kyle. Like I listen to vinyl with Kyle all the time. Yeah, and like I know Grant has a record player. It's just kind of like when you kind of spend a lot of time listening to vinyl all the way through. I don't know. I've never really thought of just listening to it. It kind of makes me angry. Yeah. Like I get frustrated if I'm listening to like a song and then it's like a totally different song.
Totally, yeah.
And it doesn't flow right. Like I barely have any playlists. I just listen to albums. Yeah.
But
so
I don't think that's rare.
I don't think we ever consider. Yeah, I
which
never
is so
really
weird,
thought
right?
about that.
Yeah.
So maybe I guess I never thought about maybe. But if I don't like, people will listen to it however they want.
They will, yeah. I guess it's out of your hands once it's there, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the songs standalone work as standalone songs too, though?
Yeah, I think
if someone is picking song 3 or whatever, they can
totally. And I think we're gonna we have video out already for one of the songs, and we have another 2 videos in the works, and I think we want to get another one out for another one of the songs. So I think it'll help to have that kind of visual interpretation of all the songs to kind of help sell them. And like the one that we have out right now it's super like it's Michael filmed it on a Super 8 camera, and he lives out in Rosthern, Saskatchewan, in the kind of the middle of nowhere. And
full time he lives out there?
He has family. He has his family out there, so he spends like the holidays. He'll spend out there for like a month or so. And
so he's not commuting for the band, though, or anything, is he? Or
no. Well, I think like he spends a lot of his summers, or I guess he kind of spends the end of summer and then the fall, and kind of leading into the holidays in Winnipeg. Like he has a lot of people here he likes to spend time with, and he likes to be able to do to do music. Yeah. So. But yeah, he likes to spend as much time as he can also out with his family in Rosthern. But he had like this idea to shoot. He had this video idea of a baby meat pie, and
a baby meat pie.
Yeah. So basically, I guess what he ended up filming was, a dude runs into, or a dude and I guess in his girlfriend have a baby, and then they like kind of raise the baby, and he has like a clock. It looks like it was made in 1919. Like it looks super super ancient, and it like the clock spins, and then eventually like the baby's I guess big enough, and and the parents take the baby, and it looks like they're about to kind of raise the baby, and then it's a doll, like it's very clearly a doll.
Sure.
And they cut the doll into pieces, and then bakes it into a very nice looking pie. Like the pie baking part is very, very detailed.
Okay.
And then they put it in an oven, and then I guess eat it. But it's all done like there's like this abandoned house that we actually kind of looked at. Like that the guy like walks into, so it looks like a super barren like no man's land place where they make it. This is I think one of the first things he's done with Super 8, and I can't like it turned out really, really well. And we got a bunch of responses, like we got a bunch of comments on YouTube, like people saying that they're having nightmares from watching it. So
that's a good sign, right? Something works.
We weren't expecting like any type of response from it at all. Like I don't even know how people really saw it outside of like Winnipeg, but it was totally like people like that.
That's awesome.
Were, like from somewhere in the world that watched it, and like we were totally irritated by it. Like it totally like bothered them.
Yeah,
which is
maybe they'll buy the album now, right?
Because we didn't expect that at all.
is that kind of visual aesthetic a big part of presenting what it is you guys do?
I think.
Like, does it help
nice.
people to kind of maybe grasp what you're trying to?
I think so, and I just like
meat pies and all.
Yeah, we have. I think we come up with these songs and we have ideas for what we want like a music video to be for it, you know, and it's cool to be able to actually get that represented. And we have like it's like only eight or nine songs, so like it's not.
I guess it's doable, right?
It's doable, yeah. And we have some close friends who like to help out with that kind of stuff. So we have a guy that we've always kind of collaborated with. His name is Delph, and he's shot videos for us in the past. And he actually took the photo that we're using for our album release, like for our vinyl.
Is that
our
photo
CD.
of you guys in front of the church down there?
No,
that photo's cool. It's a cool photo.
Grant made that as a photo. I one day I was walking to the hospital down on Sherbrooke, and I was crossing the street, and I passed the Calvary Temple. Yeah. And I saw I don't know. It's just like I saw the Calvary Temple, and I was like, man, that'd be so funny as Holy Void. And it just took I was like in the middle of the street, like in the intersection, which I never do. But
probably not a good idea.
It was like 5 o'clock, and I took the picture of it and I sent it to my buddy Jesse Workington. Okay. And I was like, "Can you switch the Calvary Temple part to like Holy Void?" Yeah. Yeah, and he did it, and oh man, it looks so. It
looks super cool. Yeah.
So it's like that kind of works as our logo. The photo that we're using is like a burning piano in a swamp. Okay. And it's a pretty sweet photo.
Sounds cool. Yeah. So when does the record actually come out?
I think right before we go on tour. So we're doing like a pre-order of it on Bandcamp, and I think that's dropping tomorrow. Okay. And we go on tour. We're going out east to like Montreal, and that's going to come out on. Then I guess we're gonna release it on the 30th or the 31st. I should know this, but I don't. But it'll be one of those days. I'm sure we'll have like a ad on Facebook that won't work. And
like 3 people will see. Yeah.
And then we'll realize that we wasted a lot of money. Yeah. And then we're gonna try to sell a bunch on tour and hopefully sell some in Winnipeg. We're playing Rainbow Trout when we get back. Cool. And then we're doing our release show on the 24th of August. So,
okay. Yeah. And that's the release show here?
Yeah, that's at the Goodwill with Man Candy and Black Cloud.
That's a cool lineup.
Who named their last album Void?
They did, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's kind of funny.
Do you think that those bands kind of fit well with? I mean, they're obviously different, but
yeah. Well, I played in a band called Juniper Bush with Adrian from Black
cool.
Cloud.
Yeah.
So we kind of have a connection there, but yeah, like I've always like they're kind of bleak and depressing in their own right, even without any vocals. Yeah. So yeah,
I like those guys.
I think that their music definitely really works for what we're kind of trying to do at our release, and we're good friends with Man Candy, and just wanted to have them be part of that night. Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
And it's coming out through Transistor 66, right?
Yeah, with the massive help of Art.
Yeah.
And Rachel Tandem that recently joined together.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's crazy how many bands like are all interconnected that are on that label. Like, I mean, it's the good thing about it is I feel like it's a sign of it's going to be a good record. Like at this point, I have enough.
Yeah,
of their albums in my catalog, in my collection, that like it's gonna be probably good. I'm probably gonna like it. Even and there's a whole variety of genres there, but like he seems to be really good at picking.
Oh yeah,
and then everyone's in each other's bands,
and he does it. Yeah, exactly.
It's a weird like incestuous family thing going on. Yeah.
Yeah, but they pick a lot of sweet out of town bands. Like Gin Tonic is a band that I recently saw that.
Yeah, I had them on the show when they were in town actually.
Oh, you did?
I interviewed them. Yeah. In the food court of the mall, which was fun.
What mall?
Polo Park.
Oh, nice. Yeah, like I saw their show at the Handsome Daughter, and it was like totally blew me away.
Cool band, yeah, for sure.
And they have a lot of bands, and like I know they used to do the Chevrettes from Calgary.
Yeah,
they do a lot of bands from out of town that are really good. Yeah, Art picks some really awesome bands to work with. How
did that connection happen? Was it just through your previous bands working with them?
Yeah, so Art asked Surprise Party to release some music when we were looking for someone to put out our stuff, which was awesome. Like I've always wanted to put out an album on Transistor 66.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like I grew up loving the Sisses and a lot of those releases, the Unbelievable Bargains release. So I always wanted that to happen. So we were all really through the moon that he asked us to do that, and kind of developed a pretty strong relationship with him, like me and Kyle. And he asked Holy Void to work with Transistor, which we were thrilled to do.
Cool.
And he helped us actually print out our last EP.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Because that was actually, I think, self-released, but he wanted to just put it out and then help us out with this record.
Cool.
So, yeah, I've always had such a nice relationship with Art. He does a lot
he's a great
for
guy.
everyone.
Yeah, I had him on the show a few years ago, and we just kind of talked about the label. And awesome guy.
He's an incredible dude.
Yeah,
and he does a lot, kind of selflessly, to help Winnipeg music, which is a lot, like totally not like he doesn't. I don't know. Like it's just a pretty awesome thing to take on.
Yeah,
and totally selfless.
Well, and especially there's a lot of young bands too, right? That like that he is. Like these people in their early 20s, and that he's not actively going to shows. I mean, it's not the bands he saw when he was 20, right?
Yeah.
It's just like these new bands
he
coming
goes
up.
To quite a few of those.
I know, and he has he has an ear
crap.
for it. He somehow picks the good ones. Yeah. Do you think that label has like a cachet outside of Winnipeg? I mean, when you go on tour, do people know what it is? Or because Winnipeg, there's so many bands on it, right?
I think definitely Canada.
Yeah.
It's like the label that everyone definitely knows.
Yeah.
I guess we've only been I imagine out east too. Like he has a lot of they have a big presence, I think, in Western Canada, and then out east. I've never really been out east for quite some time.
Right.
Before I think we were even on Transistor, so like with Surprise Party. So
okay.
But I imagine it's a sweet Canadian label that I think a lot of people like to be on, especially like he does a lot of garage, punk, rockabilly.
Yeah, everything kind of related to that in some way.
It's awesome. It's a sweet family to be. I guess out east he has B.A. Johnson.
That's right. Yeah. That's Hamilton, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense. Yeah. Do you think that this is maybe kind of a weird question because we're not really talking about this, but I ask people a lot on this show. Like, I often wonder if Winnipeg has. I feel like maybe how do I word this? I feel like regardless of genre, Winnipeg and maybe Manitoba as a whole, bands have something about them that sounds Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it could be a rapper, it could be a country singer, it could be a metal band, it could be you guys, it could be, and I don't know what it is. And I've been trying to figure it out, like, for years. What? Because there's something, right? Like,
I would, like, a band, like, but I also, like, I've seen a lot of bands from Edmonton, and there's something very Edmonton about a lot of Edmonton bands or Calgary bands. I don't know exactly what that is, or even Vancouver bands.
Like, I don't know if it comes from knowing they're from there, or if it's...
Sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say, I don't know if it comes from knowing they're from there. Like, I mean, if I know it's a Winnipeg band, am I kind of putting that on them, or I know it's an Edmonton
people
band?
Think that too. Like sometimes we've gone to play like Saskatoon, and like the dudes will be like, "Oh, it's those Winnipeg people." And they'll just like know exactly what. Yeah, I don't know if it's even a sound. Like I feel, or I don't
there's
know.
something though, right?
It definitely is something. Like it's just. It is something about a sound, but I don't know. I can't be the person that tells you what it is.
I know no one knows what it is.
But now I'm going to think about that forever, and I'll send you a text. And
sure,
I found out.
Because I mean, like there's that whole country roots, bluegrass, all that scene.
Yeah,
and they sound like Winnipeg, and then there's the punk scene, which sounds like Winnipeg, and there's the metal scene, and it's Winnipeg metal bands sound the same, and like it's everywhere. Rappers, like I don't know, and it's this weird thing floating around that somehow seeps into everybody's music. It's a good thing. Like I like it. But.
No, it is cool, and it's like it kind of like even though a lot of bands can sound so different from one another, they all kind of have something that makes them sound similar in a way, which is that's pretty unique, and that's kind of a cool thing about any place, right? It's like there's a sound for a city, no matter what you go and see. You know it's from there.
And I almost wonder if it's maybe because we have such a tight knit music scene.
Yeah,
like, everyone's in each other's bands, or has been, or someone's brother was in the band with this guy.
It's all, and it could be like a punk band, and like what's the thing on Wikipedia? Like, it's like you go down like two people, and then it's connected through a whole different genre of music, and
then you end up somewhere completely where you didn't expect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or else like someone that plays in like the gnarly metal band will also play in like a crazy folk band or something.
Or they get tired of playing punk rock and they become a country singer. And some of that punk rock, there's a lot of those. And some of that just like carries with them or something. And then I guess it influences them becoming country singers who get the punk vibe from that guy. And I don't know.
It's crazy. And like it's only gonna more over time. Like it's not anything that's bound to change anytime soon.
No, it's
right?
not. No, like I mean, I started going to shows. I think the first year I started going to shows was '95.
Right.
And like that was still there then, and it's there now. And this is, you know, we're like,
yeah, and imagine like all the different morphing, like all the different generations that come in.
Yeah, and they all somehow do the same thing in some weird way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I've never really thought too much about that, but it is kind of like an underlying thing that I think everyone always thinks about, which is kind of funny when I think of like bands that we play, like that we're pretty tight with, like Mahogany Frog.
Yeah,
they're all from Saskatchewan, and so are Grant and Michael.
Yeah,
but I think there's definitely something very, just like there's definitely like a Manitoba-ness to their music because they've been here for so long. But I also feel like there's a Saskatchewan fucking craziness to their music too. So it's funny like that people that kind of
with
amalgamate, that amalgamate from like other towns, still carry their sound, but also kind of pick up on it. I don't know. Yeah,
they keep something from the original town and then meld it with whatever Winnipeg's thing is.
And we can't describe what it is.
Yeah, for sure. It's weird.
It's
I think it actually is an impossible question because like I ask a lot of people and I get pretty much the same answer every time. Is that people hear it and they know it's there, but they can't figure out what it is. One day, someone will just lay it out and give me the perfect answer.
Like, really
and it'll be someone totally unexpected too. It'll be Yeah.
I wonder who that'll be. I
don't know. I mean, I've been doing this for 7 years already, and this hasn't been answered yet. So
it's gonna be your last one.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm done. I'm give up. Yeah.
It's gonna be like a very, very detailed answer.
Yeah.
Like,
and then now I can end. Wow. Now I can stop doing this show because someone's told me. Yeah.
Let me tell you exactly what it is. I'm gonna lay it down for you, very clear. Yeah. And then bam.
I won't have any motivation to do this anymore.
Well, that's the end of the show.
Yeah, for sure. So if people are hearing about you for the first time on this podcast, or if they just want to hear more of your stuff, what's the best way for them to find your music?
Bandcamp, Holy Void. That's not. Well, it should. Maybe Holy Void Winnipeg. Right when we first started Holy Void, like probably a week after, there was a band from, I think, Washington that started called Holy Void. And we've kind of been competing with the American Holy Void ever since. And they release stuff like just as much as we do, like almost at the exact same times.
So it's not easy to decide which one is the real.
Funny, like if you search up Holy Void on Winnipeg, you'll see like this gnarly kind of nu metal hardcore band, and then you'll see us. And that's kind of why we need more videos.
Yeah, to just boost the signal, right? Yeah,
we gotta take over this Holy Void thing.
Okay, well, in the show notes, I'll have the actual link to the real band.
Yeah.
So
Well, Holy Void Winnipeg, and if it's hardcore,
it's probably not
you've hit the USA one.
Yeah.
It's like Bush and Bush X.
That's right. Yeah. Bush X was so weird. Bush X. Yeah. So, and then the albums, people can probably get those at shows is the best way, I would imagine, right? Like physical copies?
Yeah, shows. We're looking into setting up an online store.
Cool.
But I guess, we're going to do that. And then our Bandcamp, Holy Void Band.
Yeah, right. You can order stuff at Bandcamp.
And Facebook. Just shoot us a message on Facebook. Okay. We'll find a way.
And then in terms of seeing you live, what do you have coming up the nearest, I guess, the soonest?
We have Rainbow Trout coming up, and that's going to be in St. Malo. And then we're doing our Holy Void album release with Man Candy and Black Cloud at the Goodwill on August 24th.
Awesome.
My dad's birthday.
Is that on purpose?
No.
Is he coming?
I think it's like my grandma's. They're celebrating. No, he's not. There's something very important that I probably shouldn't be missing.
Right. But you have to for the show, yeah. Okay, right on. So people should check out the Bandcamp and obviously go to the shows to pick up the record.
That would be great.
What was the release date of the record again?
August 24th.
That's the same day as the show. You just said that.
And my dad's birthday.
And your dad's birthday. Very important. And if you want to hear more episodes of this show, you can go to witchpolice.com. All 400 past episodes are available for free download and streaming. You can also tune in on Sundays at midnight on 101.5 UMFM. And those are older episodes of the show that kind of get a second boost a few months later. So, we're recording this in the summer. It may not air on UMFM till the winter or something. But it's cool because, by that point the record's out. So if you're driving in your car at midnight on a Sunday, which is like the prime radio time, and you hear about it, you can just, wake up the next morning.
That's a lonely time.
It's a good time. It's happened to me before.
No, it's a perfect time for radio.
It is,
because like you're driving and you're like, oh God, it's midnight Sunday and you don't want to be driving, and then you hear like a nice radio show that
and it's like a conversation.
That's like
right?
the best time to listen to the radio.
I've actually heard myself on the radio by accident because I listen to UMFM a lot.
Yeah,
it's often on in my car, and I just like turn on. I'm like, why am I? Oh yeah, right, it's Sunday. I'm like, why am I on the radio? But The good thing is
That's
they're always
funny.
there for perpetually. You can download them on the internet. So this will be out much sooner than that. And yeah,
Awesome.
that's what I got.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me on Witch Police Radio.
Right on.
Thanks a lot.